Well, this evening I've just come over to Denver Sluice. If you can see in the background there, the main Denver Sluice gates, the other sluice gates to the left. As you can see, it's quite a popular place for river boats, and we got this side of the river, which is, by the way, the river, the Great Ouse. And I thought we'd just have a look at Denver Sluice and explain what its job is, because it's a bit of a unsung hero really of the Fens, Denver Sluice. It keeps the Fens, it keeps it from flooding, because the other side of the sluice is tidal river that comes up from King's Lynn from the wash. So the Denver Sluice, it keeps the water back from this end, these rivers. There's 5 different rivers that come into this one, and they control the river with those big gates, which I'll take you down and have a look at. Some rowers out having an evening row, and they'll hold the water back and just release it when they want. But if we have a bad tidal surge like they had in 1953 when they had the great floods, then these modern big gates will keep it back. They'll protect all the fenland, acres and acres, hundreds and hundreds of acres. I know in 1953 when it breached the gates, it flooded, I think it was just over 300 square miles of fenland, which, as we all know, is very important around here because it grows so much produce on the fens, on that lovely dark rich soil that we've got. And I think when them floods come, it killed, I think it was about 300 or just a touch over 300 people were killed. So that shows you how important now this modern day gates of Denver Sluice are. I think it was originally built in the mid 17th century, so Denver Sluice has really been looking after the fens and protecting the fens from flood for about 400 years. But you hardly ever hear anybody say anything about it. So it is a bit of an unsung hero really. And it was, as I say, it was made in the mid 17th century, and then I think it collapsed and they had to remake it again in 1820 something or 1830, and then it wasn't then modernised until about the 1920s. But after it was breached in the 1953 floods, it was obviously built a lot stronger, and that's how it is now. And I'll take you down to have a look because it's amazing the size of it. So I should be able to walk over the bridge and show you how it works. But I just thought it'd be nice to show you something different, and it's quite an important part of the fens. As I say, it stops the fens from being flooded. So it's doing a great job. And these are some lovely little river boats, look. Sometimes there's a lot more than this actually, but there was the pub down here shut a few years back, so I don't think so many boaters stop here now. But there's some nice canal boats moored up. I'll walk down there and you might see a few as we go by, but they're all sitting out having their meals and that, so I don't want to disturb them. Not everybody likes being on camera. But as you can see, there's some big boats, some of them. Big wide barges. So I'll show you when I'm down a bit closer, and we'll have another look at some more of the sluice. Here we are. I just thought I'd show you this sign which tells you all the toll charges that people used to have to pay to go over the Denver Sluice bridge. A penny for most things, including people on foot, horses, cows, sheep, pigs. Penny for cycles. A cart was sixpence, or 6 old pennies. There's quite a few different. I'm trying to get my shadow out of the way so you can read them. But that's what the tolls were. It's quite interesting. So now we're going to walk around. This is the pub, Jenny's Arms, that's now shut. There we go. Clive Hughes must have been the licence holder. And we've got a sign about Denver Sluice here. Look. I don't know how long the pub's been shut now. Quite a while. A year or two. I'm just going to walk round and have a look at the first bridge. So we'll come back when I'm there. And here we are. This is the first bridge, or the first set of sluice gates, I take it. Lots of ironwork for lifting and dropping the gates. Now this is the river that comes down from 10 Mile Bank from Littleport, and these are the big gates that hold it back this side. As you can see, the river splits into two. One's that side and one comes this side. And then this side, this is the tidal river. This tidal river comes up. You can see the gates are open a little bit because you can see the water going through. Look. See that water coming through these gates? There you go, look. You see the movement. If you look closely, you'll see the movement on that right hand. See it going up and down? Just here, look. Just there where my fingertip is. But this is the river that comes, tidal river that comes from the wash. Comes from the King's Lynn docks. And that river comes when the tide comes in. These mud banks that you can see will all be covered. So really Denver Sluice is protecting all that fenland that grows all those vegetables and so much food for the rest of the country. And it's protecting it against flooding in case we have any more big floods from the wash, from the sea. So this is holding it all back. And when the tide's in, you'll see it's a lot higher up. You won't see those mud flats. That little platoon over there is a little staging area where narrowboats moor up. And then I think they go through this lock over here. I think there's a lock over here. I'll show you. There should be a lock down here which they go through. Here we go. That's the lock. So the boats will come in there. That bridge, big gate will go up. The boats will come in. The water will fill up and lift them to the level of this side. There you go. And then they'll go through onto the Great Ooze that side. You can see there's some mooring places here, look. So all in all, Denver Sluice, as you can see, is doing a hell of a job to protect the Fens. So the next side, where you see the other bit of river going down this way, I'll take you down to that bridge and I'll show you that bridge. A lot more stronger, more modern than this side, and they've got some huge chains that work it. So we'll go and have a look there, shall we, and see what that looks like. Now this side further down, this is a backwater, and as you can see there's more gates there, but they're down. But the main area that I showed you where the boats and that are is behind, on the right here, behind these trees. But this is one of the little back branches of river. As you can see, it comes up there, look. A lot calmer, quite wide. And this heads off towards down the market way. So I'll show you the big sluice gates next. Now, as you can see, that's where the main offices and places are. It's the private car park and offices, the environment agency that run Denver Sluice. They've got their office behind there. And here we've got the big sluice gates. I dread to think how much these metal girders and chains weigh. Right, this was obviously, it was modernised during the years 1954 and 1964. So that would have been after the breach, when the great floods of 53. But look at this. These are the great big gates that are lifted, holding back all that water. And look at the size of the chains. Can you see the size of the chains? They're like a chain that you get on a push bike, but they're about 8 inches wide. Huge chains, look. I suppose they've got to be to lift these. There's a lot of weight in those metal gates. And that's a walkway that people can walk across, I suppose, who are working here. But we've got one bay there, two, that's the second bay, and there's the third bay at the end here. There's the third bay. So we've got 3 big bays, and we've also got them great big booms going across the rivulet to stop any of the rubbish and junk coming through, although it looks like it still comes through. But you can see there's quite a lot of rowers. There's a rowing club in the middle there, on that bank here. There's where the rowing club is, and as you can see there's some rowers out on the river at the moment. This fella's coming back towards us with his high vis top on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 rowing boats out at the moment. And again, this is a separate, as I showed you last time on the old gates, which are back there. That was the King's Lynn, straight from King's Lynn, that river. That was a tidal river. But this is just a normal back river. And if you can look right down the far side, right down here where my finger is, that's down the market. And down the market church, which is up on a hill. But there you go, this is nice and calm river. But again, this huge job that this complex does, Denver Sluice. People don't realise how important it is to everyone living in the Fens. If this wasn't here, the Fens they'd be back to being muddy marshland, because that's all it was. Before Denver Sluice was built in the mid 1600s, it was just all marshland, muddy marshland rivers. You wouldn't be growing anything on it, that's a dead cert. People would live on fish and eels, and that was about it. But when this was built, or the first version of Denver Sluice, everywhere started getting nice and dry. The soil's nice and dark. Obviously where it was silt, river silt, and lovely and black, rich soil that grows anything. And I mean anything. So here we go. You've seen Denver Sluice. The unsung hero of the Fens. The great, I suppose it's a monument really, a great part of history, living history, that keeps the Fens nice and dry. So hopefully it will carry on. Now it's all been modernised, it will carry on for a couple of 100 years, though I'm not sure. We're getting lots more bad weather, aren't we? So, but there you go. So everybody, you have a good evening, and thank you for watching. I just thought it might be of interest to some people. It's about time people mention Denver Sluice. And don't forget, feel free to share with your friends, to like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, and it'll help build the channel. We started off with 2 or 3 subscribers, and we've now got quite a few, so let's see how far we can get. I just thought this would be a bit more interesting for you, rather than a walk through the woods looking for fungi every time. So you have a good day, everybody, and don't forget, keep your eyes open.